So we're talking about new growth today, all this wonderful new growth that is Paris New Eden, right? The idea that the world was on the brink of disaster and then all of a sudden it was able to pop back. Timely. Brian Drake, are you popping back to your old school video intro as well? As a matter of fact, I am a little bit because we're outside and we're a little bit bored. Plus, we're talking today about a game that is all about new growth and New Eden and everything. Dice drafting, resource management, all that sort of stuff. Let's take a look at what Paris New Eden offers right now. So here's Paris New Eden set up completely. You'll notice there are these 5 action spaces here with dice on them. Those are set up based depending on the player count for the game. Down here you have the buildings that are going to become available this round, also done based on player count. You have these available tokens here where you're going to choose one of these survivors and put it in your tableau in your little player area here in a little bit. And you're also going to choose one of your 3 mission cards, and the other 2 are going to be discarded. Essentially, on your turn, you're trying to get enough prepared survivors in your refuge, is what they call your area, to where you can complete one of these events. Now notice that there are 2 dice here. When you take a dice, not only do you take that and it goes in your refuge, or at least to be used this turn as a survivor, you also do the action of this space. So what these are, if you're the first one to go here, you're going to take the heroine token, which she will allow you to have 1 prepared worker. We'll talk about that in a minute. 1 prepared type of survivor at the end. But you take the dice, you put it here, and you'll also, this action is going to flip over one of these. So 2 people are going to do this, which means you're essentially going to have to compromise and figure out, okay, well, I really need this one to go face down because my refuge is really built to where I can do this one. So I'm going to flip this one over. So you have to be careful on that. Over here, in this action, there are 2 dice here as well in a 2-player game. You're going to take 3 mission cards. You're going to choose to keep 1. The mission cards are things, essentially, they're going to let you keep. Either going to be new buildings, essentially, or they're just going to be bonus points at the end of the game. That's what the victory sign means. But some of them are, in fact, new buildings to add to your refuge. Here at this action space, notice there are 5 of those here. Quite a few of those left. You've got 3 of these tokens left, as well as the first couple people are going to grab one of these tokens, either the bat or the binoculars. And these will essentially break ties and give you another bonus. But you're going to take one of the die, and the die are going to be useful anyway, but you're also going to get one of the tokens here. Now some of your buildings are already going to come with tokens on them printed. Those will allow you to add to your buildings to where you need so that you can finish and complete those objectives we talked about at the end of the round. Up here, this is where you're going to grab food or canned tokens. You're going to take a dice, and then you're also going to take canned tokens. You do have to feed your people, is why the canned tokens are important, but you also can feed them with farm buildings, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Over here, the train station, this is how you get other survivors. So these survivors are used when you're trying to get the buildings. So essentially there's a somewhat of an auction mechanic when it comes to getting these buildings down here. At the end of the round, when it's time to get the buildings, you're going to count up in your refuge who you have the most strength of, or for each type what you have the most strength of. So assuming this is mine, now these ones here are wild, assuming I have this right here, well then I clearly have the most in blue if they have none. So I would have the most blue power, which means I get the first choice of the farmer building. They all do different things, but the more farms you have, the more farmers you have, the more food you produce for your people without having to use canned tokens. The thing is, you also have these tokens which are wild. These guys are wild. The other ones are based on their type, but this one is wild. Now, when you use a token, after you use it, it flips over and becomes this illustrated side. These will then go into your refuge. Well, the wild ones, while they're fantastic as dice, they're useless. They're slackers when it comes to the other side. Whereas these tokens, so this one right here, I believe that's the sage. When she flips over, she becomes a illustrated person that you can put onto your board. So let's just say you need to get prepared people here. Notice there are no people here. There are just 2 books here. So now you have 1 prepared worker there. That's how that works. You're essentially trying to get these tokens onto here or those tokens onto here to where you can have the most to beat the event. The game lasts 4 rounds. And that's it. You're going to do that over and over, rinse and repeat. You'll feed your people at the end based on that matrix up there in the top left. Depending on how much food, the food you need depends on how many people you have completely in your refuge. But that is Paris New Eden. Now, as a lot of you know, if you've made it this far in the video, I typically ask a question at the front of the video, question of the day, and it's some sort of question to drive engagement about a certain topic in gaming. I've been asking a question a lot lately. What about expectations, and have they been subverted from reading a rule book to playing the game? This one did, and it's rare that this happens, not in a snarky, this never happens to me, blah, blah, blah. But it is rare. This one did it though, and here's what I mean. I read the rule book, and I was not enthralled about playing this game. It was on my docket. It was one of the ones I was going to review no matter what. I wasn't enthralled about it. I did like the art. I liked the way it looked. I liked the theming. But I wasn't just pumped about playing it. Well, get it to the table. We start playing through it some. Get that feeling chewed down, the basics down, start playing through it some more. And what I discovered is that I really like this game more than I thought I would. Now, is it the greatest game of all time? Absolutely not. But let's break down a couple different categories as we're wont to do here on this channel. First of all, art. We have to talk about this first. The art and presentation of this game is fantastic. The art is just really, really good. It looks good. I love isometric views in the first place. So an isometric view of the board with the little Polaroids on top that kind of show you the actions. That's really nice. It's not just a good board layout. It's a good art design. It's designed art in the sense that yes, you have an isometric view of the board of this new Paris, but you also have these snapshots, these Polaroids that someone has taken, and this is where you set the dice to do the actions. That is just so smart. It's just brilliant thinking of, hey, what would look good and what would look good and make sense, right? So you can do two different art styles, the isometric view and the more realistic view. That is really, really smart. And it carries over into the tokens. They have the kind of cutesy front with a dice face, and then on the back is a more illustrated version. It's almost like they were two pulling ideas of, hey, what's our art style going to be? And someone goes, why not both, right? So really well done on the art. Second thing with presentation I want to talk about is the fact that the player boards are nice. They're good and chunky. But the insert in this game is top notch. For it to come off the shelf out of your local game store with that kind of an insert, that is fantastic. When something gets to my table that much faster because the artists and designers and everybody went, hey, wouldn't it be great if? That's fantastic. I love a good insert, but not just a good insert where everything's labeled in the plastic. I know that drives up cost sometimes, but really well done. Now, all that aside, you can put lipstick on a pig, etc. This is a good game. It's a solid game. It's a solid 7.25 sort of game, right? It's not the 10. It's not a 4. It's a good solid 7 game. And what I mean by that is it plays way more thoughtfully than I thought. It's much more of a puzzle than it is just a dice drafting game. I love games like Sagrada. I love dice drafting games. I love all sorts of drafting games like that. But this one plays much more thoughtfully than I definitely thought it was. As you're pulling those dice, do you want to pull it for the dice so you can have the power to buy the better building at the bottom, or do you pull it so you get the better use of the action, right? Maybe I need that blue worker so I can get more farm workers, and maybe I need more, I need the actual green pill, or I need the purple book. It's every single action is thoughtful. Now, there are a couple times in the rounds of playing where you go, okay, I can do this or this or this, and I have a lot of options, but each time you do it, you go, why am I taking this dice? Is it because I need it for the dice, or I need it for the action? That choice alone is what elevates this game from being just it's a dice drafting game to a good, solid game that should stay in a lot of people's collection, because the moment of every single time you take an action going, why am I doing this? Putting that question in your head really makes this a fun game. So the experience went from, I don't really know if I even want to play this, to, these are some good, tough choices, to, this is actually multiple tough choices, because not only is it tough choices when you take your actions, when you go through that phase when you're buying buildings, you go, well, let's see. Where do I want to spend my wilds? Is it most important that I get the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 victory points from the bonus event this round, or is it more important that I get the buildings that are going to get me closer to my goals to get me my secret mission cards, at which point I will possibly min-max the points better there. I love the thoughtfulness that was put into that, to where it's not a point salad. You can't just do anything to get points, but you can do a lot of things to get points, and those points are all valuable depending on how you do it. So really well done. Go check out Paris New Eden. It's a very beautiful game. I love the isometric view. I love the insert. The mechanics are solid. It's a lot of choices, a lot of push and pull, and not an auction so much, but a little bit of majorities that ties in, but it's not so much to where you just want to kill everybody. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Right? So it's nice. Very, very fun game. Go check out Paris New Eden by Matagot. It's an interesting game. I'm Brian Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Dice Tower Brian. And until next time, make sure to check out the board game Battle Royale that Roy Kennedy, Mark Street, and I do. So much fun. Just a great chance for you to get in and vote for which of these games should battle it out on time. So until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower.